good? Sorry. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Broadway Bleachers and Beyond with your host, Leanna Butte for WYUR Radio. New York is where the drama never stops. From the crack of the bat to the switch of the net to a hush theater to the city that writes stories that echoes across generations. Fast, thrilling, unforgettable memories. This is New York in full performance, and the show is just getting started. Buffalo Bills had a tough week last week against the Texans on Thursday Night Football. Horrible game for the offense. Allen, two interceptions. Miss did not get his targets and a really bad interception. The red zone that really could have brought Buffalo up and win in the last minute of the game. Allen was not able to find the pocket, able to find Shakir, Gabe Davis, or any of his main targets. There was a big play in the fourth quarter towards the end that he was out fourth and 27 and was able to get it, but with a shorter yardage, he was not able to do it. Interception late on. He just did not play well. 8 sacks, the most in his career. The Texans really knew where they were going with him, and they really played the offense like a book, and they deserve it. Texans won 23 23 to 19. The I believe it was 23-19. They were really good. The Texans just was able to outplay Buffalo, and when you get the ball out of Josh Allen's hands and he's not being able to make the play, it just doesn't work out for them. The defense isn't strong enough to be able to really compete, and that's what we've seen. And definitely with Bernard getting injured, now he's week to week, and that really hurts your defensive line. So it's just really a tough week for Buffalo. And with that loss, they are now the last seed in the wild card. And with the Patriots constantly winning and the Chiefs starting to win, the Ravens starting to win, they really have to start winning to stay in the playoff race as well as just getting to the playoffs. And at this point, doesn't mean getting in the playoffs means you're going to go deep in right now. They need to find something. They really do. Allen needs to find someone open, or Joe Brady has to have a different playbook because it hasn't been working. They have been playing sloppy defensively, offensively, too many interceptions, uh, just too many mistakes in the red zone, as well as just like double looks for Allen, which shots, targets and throws he should be making, and he isn't. But they have to really change if they want to go deep into the postseason and definitely back to Super Bowl for the first time since the 90s. But it doesn't look like they're good enough. And unless they start winning, I don't see a future of them in the Super Bowl. But as a Bills fan, I want them there every day. I do. Like at the end of the day, I feel like they could make it. They could make a run. Not every team that is good always wins. We just seen the upset for the not would have been an upset. Toronto Blue Jays being the Dodgers if they would have won the World Series. But like we don't really. Sometimes the better teams do win, and sometimes they don't. Because the Dodgers really didn't deserve to win that series. They played worse than Toronto Blue Jays, but Toronto made foolish mistakes in the last 2 games of the World Series, which caused them the championship. But I'm excited. I have a little bit of excitement to see because even with Allen, there's always a chance. There's always a chance for something to happen. And their defense is getting healthier. Definitely with Milano back, he has been helpful. Bosa has been great this year. And having maybe Kincaid is on the mend. Having Gabe Davis, who has a connection with Allen already, and definitely with Shakir and Knox, he has to find targets that he trusts. And right now it's not there, or his offensive line is not helping him be able to scramble. And we've seen that against the Texans. He was not able to get in the pocket, or even uh, do a quarterback run because the Texans were right on top of him all game long, up until the final seconds, which caused the interception. but they just don't look great. Even the wins didn't look great. The win against the week prior really wasn't great. It was a it was a close game all game long, but they really have to pick it up if they want to make it to the playoffs and actually really go strong into playoffs because yes, they're the last wild card seed, but you don't want to be going against the top seed, top division like the Broncos. You really don't. Away. Yes, Buffalo could win away, but you kind of want to play at home. You want to have that fan base behind you. You want to have Bills Mafia behind you. Really do. And right now, it looks like they're not playing with joy. It just looks like they're stagnant. And you've seen the frustration with Allen after the interception, after the fumble, after every mistake, after the fumble, uh, after the sacks. You could just see the frustration in Allen and the rest of the team. Like they were frustrated. They couldn't get anything across. There was only one touchdown, and that was from catch from James Cook, who had gone in the end zone. And the only other touchdown was from a return in the second half, and that shifted the momentum towards Buffalo. But then again, misplaced from the defense and the offense, and Texans went up again, and they were able to keep the score as it was. Even though Buffalo did have a late chase, Allen threw. Allen could have thrown a six pick, but thankfully there was a foul on the play. But it was just a horrible game to watch as a fan. It really was. It was heartbreaking because every single time it looked like they were going in the right direction, they would go back 300 steps. It was disturbing and just exhausting to watch as a fan because I want my team to win. And that was just exhausting to be stressing over a football game on a regular season game. But at this point, you have to play every game like like it's the playoffs because we're getting closer to January, we're getting closer to February, we're getting closer to Super Bowl. So every game that you didn't win might come back to beat you in the ball. So the Bills really need to start winning. They need to find new strategies because Texans were able to knock them down. The defense did do better. There wasn't that much rushing. They didn't give up as much rushing yards as the past games, thank God. But the defense needs to get better as well. And it sucks. It really does suck because Allen is a great quarterback, but he got overplayed. He got caught. Like they knew what he was doing every single snap, and that's just where it was. But the Bills do play again next week, so I'm hoping bounce back. But it's just that at this point, I can't believe in them until I see it, and until I see it, I don't know if they're gonna make it deep into the postseason. I really don't see it. I really don't. It just the the passion and the passion and the joy seen in game 1 against the Ravens and coming back, it doesn't look like the same team. It doesn't look like the team that says, "I believe, I believe, I believe I could," even in a deficit, they were able to come back. Definitely when Allen he's one of the top he still leads the league with quarterbacks, with touchdowns, I think 28 or whatever it is. And they're still the last seed in their, league, uh, in their division, and I'm like, it's just crazy. It really is. And James Cook is having a great season. It's just they're not able to calculate those W's. And it had to do a lot more recently with Allen throwing a lot more interceptions than last year. Even though he is a seasoned veteran, that has to change, and the playbook has to change with Joe Brady, and they have to find different ways to get the scoring going because Texans were all on everyone from Cook to Davis to uh, Gabe Davis to Shakir to Knox to Allen. Like they knew where they were going with the football, and that was just good. That was just learning the playbook from the Bills and constantly watching Allen, watching videos of how he deals with the how he plays football and depends on his offensive line. It just it was sad to see him sacked so many times. And that's where I remember last year when he was sacked and he got hurt. So I kinda always get scared when he does fall on your shoulder, under his arm, his wrist, because I last year I think it was the left hand that got hurt. So I always get nervous that something worse is gonna happen and we'll be out of a quarterback. Because anything could happen in football. It's very contact sport, so injuries are more likely to happen. It's a very physical sport, but it is what it is. Texans won. They're over 500 now. Texans are also fighting for a wild card, for the wild card. So, and Texans are a good team. They are do have a 6-5 record, but their defense has kept them in, and now they're on. I think they won 3 straight or 2 straight, so they're on a roll. So the Bills could see them later on, and since Allen has been a Buffalo Bill, he has not done well against Texans 0-2. So if they end up facing each other again, hopefully it's in Buffalo because he had not done well in Texas against them. So another exciting thing happened over the weekend. So I'm gonna flip to another story. So as we all know, the NSW and WSL championship happened over the weekend. The Washington Spirit versus NYFC NY Gotham FC played the final for the NWSL championship in Sophie Stadium in California. And that was huge because that's huge in the soccer world because that's the championship round for the women's league in the United States. So that was where I was really focused on this weekend because I'm a huge Gotham fan. So I was focused on the game, and I will tell you about my reaction and fun things that I saw at the game, watching at home, as well as just tidbits that I loved about the game, as well as the players right after the break. Welcome back. So, as you all know, Gotham ended up winning in the final 1-0 in the 8th minute from Rose Lavelle. Uh, hit ran in the back of the net. Great, great, great setup for Gotham. Definitely, Brun missed her mark, but somehow Lavelle was able to get there and got her foot in it, and it went to the corner of the net, and it went past the keeper, and Gotham was up 1-0 in the 80th minute. And I kept saying this. I said it last week. I had Gotham winning because I'm a Gotham fan, but also they kept showing every week that even though they're the lower seed, they're not the underdog. They could fight with every other team that they are playing. even though they're the 8th seed. They could beat the 1st seed, they could beat the 2nd seed, they could beat the teams ahead of them. They're not afraid to play them. And every single playoff game this season has been close. 2-1, 1-0, 1-0 for Gotham in their wins. It has not been a blowout for either team. And these teams were higher seeded than them. Nets beating out, if I'm not mistaken, I think uh first one was the number 1 seed, and then Orlando Pride I think was the 4th seed. And if I'm not mistaken, Washington is the 2nd seed. So they were able to beat the 1st, 2nd, and 4th seed in the playoffs as the 8th seed, as the last seed. And that was so exciting for me to see because it just reminded me of 2023 when they were the 6th seed and they played the top seeds and they won. And they got this, they were underdogs the whole session. The whole year was the underdogs, they're underdogs. This year they were underdogs because they didn't have a great season. Let's just say the truth. They really didn't. Roosevelt was out for a while. A lot of players were injured. Turin Davison was out for the season. Mitch Purse was out for a while. Esther wasn't playing for a while because she was injured. And then Jaden Shaw came, and she really showed what 8's emotion really could do for a player. She got traded from North Carolina Courage to Gotham right in time because she actually got demoted to and had to play on the U20 because she wasn't able to really just be who she was when she was first called up to the national team. And it really helped her. And going to Gotham, being coached by Carlos, really helped her, which I believe helped her just have fun and just be herself because we've seen that with Carlos a lot in the press conferences, in the meetings, and when he talks after the games or talks during the games to the players, the ones that we hear, like the pep talks and everything. He is so much about who they are as a person, not just as a player. And I think that shows so much more for Jane Shaw, who was really at a low point in her career. Came that a team was, tell the truth, was 50-50 at the time. But it was the right time for her to go to Gotham because she was able to produce. She was not playing many minutes with North Carolina. She was playing maybe 60 minutes. She only had 3 goals and I think 1 assist in 19 games. In just 2 games, in 2 out of 4 games in the playoffs, she has 2 goals. 2 goals in back-to-back games. She had it in the semifinal and the quarterfinal. I think, yeah, might have been the semifinal, quarterfinal. So for her to come to Gotham at the right time, it worked great because she was able to build confidence and just play the game and be herself. And we've seen her just adjust to playing with the players, and she just, you could see the form of a bond for like that team more than anything. With superstars like like Sana Davidson, Mitch Purse, Esther, uh, and many more. You have that, but you also have young rookies as well as veteran players around the league. Around the league, national team, international, etc. And the way they were able to assimilate with each other, it just looks so much like they were meshing at the right time. And it was at the right time because they start meshing at the end of the season. And sometimes when you do that, that kicks your start to the playoffs. And if you're able to connect and click at the right time, that could lead you to greatness in the postseason. And we've seen that in soccer teams, we've seen it in basketball teams, we've seen it in football, we've seen it in baseball teams. Sometimes when it clicks at the right time, you could go on a hot streak and you're able to go bulldozer teams that sometimes are better than you, but you're able to do the small plays. Like Berger was able to do in the semifinal against Orlando Pride. her last play of the game. Well, she hit the ball off of the net, and she got the ball in the set piece. If that goes in, it's tied nil. It's already going into overtime, and that would have been a tough game for Gotham to come back and win an overtime game after playing overtime the prior game. So to have her be a savior in that point, and to just be great at just making that play late, and then Emily Sonnet throughout the whole game, the semifinal as well as the final, just putting her body on the line to protect the net, and you've seen it during the final. There was a shot on goal, and Berger came out to get it, and there was a rebound, and it almost went in, but thankfully the defenders were able to keep it keep it out and get it for a goal kick. But it was a tough game. Gene Shaw almost got a lot of chances. Uh, Gold got a lot of chances on Washington Spirit. Trinity got a few when she was finally put in. But it was a tough fought game from the two sides. Gotham was able to get on top late in, but don't say it. Washington did not put their foot on the brakes. They put it on the gas, and they were trying to get that equalizer right on. Did not work out at all. Gotham ended up winning 1-0. And now Gotham has won 2 out of 3, 2 in 3 years. And I personally think they should be considered a dynasty soon if they do win another year. If they win another in the next few years. Because they hired the new coach in 2023. They came from being dead last in the league to winning the championship in his first year, making the semifinal his second year, winning championship in his third. And yes, there are some players who are together, like Mitch is part of that core, Berger is part of that core, Davidson is part of that core, if I'm not mistaken. I think she was. She might have been or she might have not. I don't remember she was on the 2023 team. Anyway, the captain was there. So you have certain players also correlate from the 2023 to the 25. That's where like Rose Lavelle, Emily Sonnet was on the opposing team who lost to Gotham in 2023. So I love that instead of beating themselves down, they were able to get back up and just if they can't beat it, join it. And that's really it. They join the winning side. And Gotham really has shown like they've been able to really just show their success in a short time period of just management change. And we've seen it player in and player out. When you have young rookies or veteran players who are superstars, as long as you're able to get them on the same message that what they're do on the field is important, but it is also about character. It's about love of the game as well as just team. Having being teammates, being confident. And you've seen that I could say I seen that when they won in 2023 because their captain at the time, Ellie Krieger, was going through a really tough divorce and separation from with her kids and her ex-wife at the time. I don't remember if they're divorced or not yet, but whatever. She was going through that on top of having to play her last game, her last season for Gotham, and not being one of the players who has had it all but never won the championship in the National Women's Soccer League. So you've seen the team really rally around her for that common goal of wanting her to get that championship, wanting for her to go out on top. And we've seen that. And I remember the merch. It was Ali Krieger's not last day yet. It was the merch of her of the date that they won 11/11/23. and I remember that game so clearly. It was a hard game to watch as a fan because Megan Rapinoe went out really early with a non-contact injury, and, but s I thought Gotham was gonna win, but as a fan, it just sucked because, like, it was a sad game to watch a superstar go out the way they did. But I was very happy for Krieger, and I was happy that she was one of the first persons who actually went up to Rapinoe and actually make sure she was okay. But what I was upset about watching that game, watching the after effects, which I wasn't upset about today because there was parade today, but from the comments of what happened after they won, it was represented that management, ownership, GMs, high executives did not believe they were going to win. So New York did not plan any celebrations, nothing. So everything was based on the players who were staying for the holidays or just gonna spend time in New York, New Jersey, do like events for winning. So I didn't like that. It felt like a kick in the chat, a punch in the gut for all the fans who watch them like me constantly. That's how it felt. Really did. So this time around, when they won, it felt nice. I knew they were gonna do a float. I knew that. But they did do the bus tour and they did the ceremony, and yes, that looks so much better to fans that we finally got that ceremony, we finally got that parade, and to just see the players, see the fans, see everybody just enjoy it, and I think at the end of the day, that's really what matters. It doesn't matter if you win or lose, it matters the community that you build. And that's where with women's sports, you have to build that community because it is underfunded for a lot of and a lot more than men. Even though necessarily in our country, women's soccer is more successful than men. It's just the truth. And the men have been here. The men has a longer commitment with with FIFA through the Olympics, World Cups, friendlies, professional soccer. But the women have shorter year term from I think from just the 1980s, if I'm not mistaken, or late 70s, and they have more success. And I think seeing it more televised the past few years helps that success really show and show America how successful that women's sports could be. And that's for women's soccer because they have 4 titles in just 20 years. And in both times, they won back to back, if I'm not mistaken. They won back to back in 2015 and then 2019. And they just came off a gold medal. So they're at the height of their success. And seeing Gotham with so many national players, necessarily the younger ones, and seeing them just show off of who they are personally, who they are as a soccer player, as well as who they are off the field, and the friendships they have with each teammate, the relationships they have with their team. It's just beautiful to see. And necessarily, like after the game, you see Rose come up to Ali Krieger, who was a former teammate, and hug her, and you see Mitch Purse go up to Ali Krieger, and then you go see Jane Shaw, who literally she was amazing. She really was. She really showed that at this point she deserves to be there, and they were wrong about her. And it really is, as she said, like trying something again without hesitation, not getting screamed at or pulled off the field is something that I really feel in this environment. And that quote just shows how much Gotham really brought her in and let her be herself. And you see it on the field. She was playing with joy. She was playing with passion. She was having fun. And when you let players do that and just focus on the game and just have fun, that makes it easier for everyone around them. And that makes it easier for them to be successful. because she did go through tough times in North Carolina, not being able to score, not on the field as much as she wanted to, getting the promotion from the national team, not playing well the year prior after being on the Olympic team. So you could see that. You really could see the difference. But at the same time, like, she grew so much from when she came to Gotham to where she is today. And as she said it, rightfully so, at the ceremony, underdogs were, you know, but it just happens they were, and it is going to be the narrative. They were the underdogs once again. Number 8 seed beats number 2 seed. It's just gonna be what happens, but and it's just crazy because this playoff season, Gotham has beaten mostly the most successful runs on teams. Like Orlando Pride was the number one one last year, and they were the I think they were the 1 seed if I'm not mistaken, and they beat them, and that's just amazing as the 8 seed. And they were close games. It wasn't like Orlando was taking control. Gotham was taking control for a lot of it, which caused a lot of pressure for Orlando, and eventually they ended up scoring late. But Martha didn't give up, as we know. Martha played until the very end. Uh, but like it really had to do with just not giving up mentality that they are better than all these teams. And I think that has to do with the way that we see sports in general, because sometimes it's the seeds that are lower the ones that you have to beat because they have everything to lose. They have nothing to lose. But the number 1 seed, the number 2 seed, number 3, they have something to lose because they were the best teams all league, all season. They have the things to lose. So when you have a 6 seed, 8 seed, 7 seed, whatever it is, go against a higher seed and they come out victorious, that's gonna show it that it wasn't just that's the lower seed had the confidence, but they had the confidence to be able to beat that team and just show that they're not the underdog. That in any given day, every team is equal. And that's what I feel about necessarily for soccer than anything. Any day, anything could happen. There is 90 minutes, 90 plus minutes usually. But mistakes do happen. Goals are conceded. Fouls are done. Red cards, yellow cards, ejections, etc. But if you play the game right and you find the right chemistry and you're able to gel, anything could happen on the field. Anything could happen on the pitch. Anything could happen. In Gotham, bless them, got the ceremony at today in the city, got the parade. I'm very happy for all the teammates. I'm happy they're celebrating. I'm real happy for Purse because she was the MVP in 2023 and still be on that team, as well as Rose Lavelle to be an MVP and finally get her title because she has everything else but that. And I'm just excited to see Jane Shaw lose the confidence this year, get traded to a team that wasn't that great, and then just showing the league and showing the world that she is a better player than she was, and she just needed a reset. And that really is what athletes really you have to really think about. It is not easy for them day in, day out. They have to go through scrutiny, they have to go through injuries, they have to go through constantly being watched by either coaches, coaches, players, management, fans, media. They're under the public eye for so long, so everything is gonna be is pressured. They are more pressured than any other. I think personally, athletes more than anything face more pressure because they have to be successful for them to be acknowledged or at least celebrated. And for Jane Shaw, she is a great football player. She is. She went through a tough time. And I think Emma Hayes giving her the demotion that helped her kind of rebuild who she was as a football player and kind of rebuild the confidence, as well as North Carolina allowing her to be traded to Gotham, because that's a full different management. He coaches, which I've seen him in his pep talks, he is more heart and he is about strategy, he is about practice, he is about everything that should be important. But at the same time, he has so much heart when he speaks and so much passion. You see it every day with the pep talks when they're on the field, when he's on the sidelines, telling them what's the play, what's the strategy, when they're in the locker room, when and after they won and media coverage, all that stuff. He is so charismatic, but at the same time, he knows how to talk to his players and get what he needs out of them in a respectable way. And I think we see that a lot. If we see that a lot more, you see more success because there are, and I personally think he is only in the US coaching for 3 years and he has 2 championships under his belt. That's just, it's not luck at that time. At this point, it's just he knows what he's doing. And he coached prior the Spanish the Spanish, I think, is the U20 team before he came to Gotham. So he knew what he was doing. He was successful there. And his success and bringing people from that really helped him out here. And I think also having people around him, necessarily like a Mitch Purse, a Rose Lavelle, Emily Sonnet, Serena Davison, um, even Esther, and like even international players who come back and forth, to just be able to have them lead the club with so much grace and so much experience professionally, but also know that it's a game at the end of the day. But as long as you go together and you're able to trust each other, you could win. And I think that I've seen that a lot more over the past 3 years with Gotham with the new coaching. That you see them more as a family, often on the field, than you see them as just teammates. And you could see that when they celebrated. You could see that today when they were at the parade, just having fun with each other. You seen that after they won. You seen that when they were on the bench cheering. You could just you could just feel it, that how much love they have for each other and how much they wanted to win for each other and how much passion they have for the game and joy they have playing the game, because it is it is a game at the end of the day, and they're lucky to do this for a living, because someday for some of these players it will be the last day. They won't be healthy enough, or maybe they get an injury they can't come back from. But more, I could say maybe based on uh, football more, is that sometimes you have to take in the memories more, because a lot of players get cut earlier than in a lot of other sports. So take every moment. Don't take every moment for granted, because I think personally for all of these players, necessarily for we seen it after the game. Alex Morgan, she just retired. She could have retired on top. Could have played a few more years. She really could have. She didn't. She retired the way she wanted to. Megan Rapinoe, on the other hand, didn't retire the way she wanted to. She got injured in the first few minutes of the finals in 2023 and was not able to continue playing, and that is how she went out. But it's a game at the end of the day, and I think for fans, we have to remember that it's still a game at the end of the day. We get upset when they lose. We get upset. We are ecstatic and celebrating when they win different championships. And as a New Yorker, it's hard to come. We don't really have many championships in the past 20 years, you know. And but so far we had a lot of female ones. So I had fun. I have fun watching them, and I think they have to be celebrated a lot more and honored more than they really are. And necessarily with cable now doing the games, necessarily the playoffs, but they have to do more coverage. That's just my opinion because they are successful, but the league has to get better because you can't have players not getting paid or being a designated player getting a certain amount of money. You have to it has to be better than that because these are players who should be getting what they deserve and there should not be a salary cap because they're not making a lot. They're not. They're not making close to what the men is. Maybe national team members are for respectively their own home teams, but for the clubs, they're not. For some of the club club members, still have to work another job. They're not making millions. They're not. They're making a lot. Some of them might be like Roosevelt, like more Alex Morgan definitely was, but they're getting a lot of their money on sponsors, and that's not right. These owners should be able to pay these salaries because we live in a country that you have to have money to be able to survive. And it's not fair that these athletes who are traveling day after day after day have to pay for their own. Some of the teams have done this. Now it's better, thankfully. But the hotels they're staying in is low class. Flights, transportation is not as good as the men. And we have seen that. Where if I'm not mistaken, I think where Gotham, which it used to be Sky Blue, used to play. It was a college field that was not really well. It was not well. It was a football field. It wasn't welly kept. There's no locker room. So like we've come far from that. Not that far from that. Now we have stadiums built for female teams as well as sharing it with male teams. But we still have a long way to go because you still have to they still have to get that money because they deserve it. They really do. I'm not saying they're better than men. I'm not saying the population is love it, but they're successful. And that's the difference, I think, in this entity more than others, more than I think would say the WNBA and the NBA. With football or soccer, whatever you call it, that is more successful on the women's side than men's in this country. And we see year out, the men don't place in the World Cups, the Olympics, etc. The women place only once or twice in the past 20 years that they didn't place in the Olympics or the World Cup. Once or twice in the last 20 years. The men has only came in fourth once, I think, maybe twice. They haven't won an Olympic medal. They won a World Cup. They won 4 World Cups. And I believe they have three gold medals, 2 silver, 1 bronze, if I'm not mistaken. They might have 3 gold, not 4. But they have been more successful over their tenure. And the transition of players year after year after year, you see the difference. You see that culture shift. But at the same time, you also see veterans keep teams together as well as the change in coaching. We see the coaching is better today than it was 5, just 2, 3 years ago. And that's what we have to see that teams are, even though like your enemies once you are on the pitch, but you see it a lot more in when sports, you see the connection between getting equal, not rights or pay, but being able to do your job and being able to go home and live your life at least semi comfortable for some of these players. But I'm excited. Gotham won. Uh, and as I predicted last week, they won 1-0. So I'm happy. Hopefully, which I didn't see this until earlier today. So the last time Gotham won, Liberty won the year later. So let's go, Liberty. Let's go. Hopefully they win next year, and maybe it continues the trend. Whenever Gotham wins, Liberty wins. Because right now our women teams are really successful, and we've been doing very well with both soccer and basketball. And but we really haven't been successful with our other Maradona states, such as baseball, football, basketball. They have not won in a long time. For the Yankees, almost 20 something years. For the other teams, more than 30 years for some of them. So it's been a long time. Uh, I, eh, the Giants have been the closest. I think it was 2012 with Eli Manning, but it just hasn't been success for uh for the now dominate sports in the city. But we'll see. Off season started, so free agency is running for Major League Baseball. Basketball season just started. Knicks are doing okay at home, horrible on the road. But we'll see how that ends up. We spoke about football a little bit earlier, but anything can happen in the world of sports. Anything can happen. Trades, injuries, uh, weird wins, weird losses. So anything can happen. Thank you for listening to me today. I know I've been a little bit off topic, but sorry about that. Uh Thank you for listening to me on this Monday evening. I know we were a little bit late today. So thank you for staying staying with me. This has been Leanna Butte on Broadway Bleachers and Beyond on WIUR Radio. Have a wonderful rest of your day.